Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Satisfactory. I'm Action Evolved, and today we're gonna drastically change this. Everything you see here, drastically different. I mean, we're not taking anything away, but we're adding a ton. And you know, before I hop into that though, do me a quick favor, scroll down just a little bit. We are on the cusp of hitting 1,000 subscribers, and I made it my goal to try to do that before the end of the year. And you guys are absolutely just killing it with the support. So if you could just check to see if you're subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's hop right into this. So last time we made this whole kind of reinforced iron frames. I guess this accomplishes a couple things, right? It makes the reinforced iron plates. It makes the reinforced frames, or the modular frames. I'm sorry, modular frames. I also made, or I wanted to make, a couple different updates over here. I want to... You'll notice we're starting to back up on some parts, right? So what I want to do is I actually want to put some smart splitters down. But not just, you know, I kind of actually also want to get rid of the sink. I know I had talked a little bit about like the philosophy of whether or not to keep everything running all the time or not. And I've decided that I don't have the power overhead to support that, right? So what I'm going to do, if we look at our to-do list here, you'll notice some things that we're kind of already making. We're already making these, and we're making them right here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a smart splitter, literally just kind of line it up with that, and then we're just going to overflow the parts. So I'm literally just going to overflow rotors. Or, yeah, these are rotors. Or no, stators. Stators are overflow. And then I'm literally just going to put another one right here. Kind of like that. And just run that over. And that'll just go in to its own box. Just like that. And we'll slap some dimensional depots down. We got to have those once I get all the stuff. So we'll slap the dimensional depots on there. But the idea is that once we're maxed out on motors, and we're basically maxed out on motors, we're just waiting for these stacks to kind of fill up, then all these extra parts will overflow into the depots. And I figure that should hold us over until we can really kind of really expand our production, right? And when we really need more. So what I want to focus on today is I want to get kind of all the other stuff going. And I had an idea to build a second floor up here, right? So we're going to go do that. But before we do that, there's one other thing I want to kind of get set up, and it has to do with that little arch over there, and you might remember it. You might notice that this area right here looks a little different, right? We didn't have this pad here before, but we did have this stuff coming up, and that's the SAM, right? So I went down and I kind of just made the SAM look a little bit better, come up a little bit cleaner, because I want to actually start processing it into the reanimated SAM now that we can build manufacturers, right? So I think I'm going to put one like right over here-ish. And if we look, SAM fluctuators, that's what I mean. SAM fluctuators. Reanimated SAM is in a constructor, wire in a constructor, steel pipes in an assembler. Well, what I could do is send all this over there and make it there. But in the last episode, I mentioned that we had this guy right here. Now, of course, one of these is a copper node. We don't need that here. But over there, we have two normal iron nodes. So this line right here is iron. We can make wire and pipes from iron. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out some way of making that into reanimated SAM and turning that iron into pipes and wire. And we're going to do that in this general area. So let me figure that out real quick. And I'm going to do a lot of updating because we got a lot to do today. This place is going to look drastically different. So let me hop on and work on some of this stuff. And I'll bring you back and kind of walk you through it. And we've been working so long that it's nighttime outside. So let me kind of show you what we're doing. So we're bringing up, now this is an impure SAM node. So I double power sharded it so that we're getting, I think, 120 up now, which is enough to feed these two constructors. Actually, I'm lying. obviously I'm doing 240 because I have 120 here and 120 in there, right? So that's making 60 reanimated sand per minute going right in there. I ran that iron node, or both of those iron nodes, just kind of down here a little bit. And that's kind of branching out into these 8 smelters. Now you'll notice, I'm not being super efficient because these 3 aren't even being used, right? They're just kind of here for something future if I decide to do something with it. I don't really need that over there, but here it's contributing all of the iron we need. This smelter specifically is going over here for iron wire. And everything's underclocked to give us exactly what we need, which is, I believe, let's see, that should be 50 total, because I think that's what this needs. Yeah, 50 wire, and then 30 steel pipes. Well, we're just making that in 2 constructors here that are underclocked to make exactly 15, right? And so, yeah, nice, perfect little balance. And then we have it all going into a dimensional depot, which is one of the main reasons why I want some of this. And you can see we're kind of stacking up already, you know? I mean, not quite here yet, but we're full here. Sam. There we go. Sam fluctuators, right? So we got 3 stacks already. So this is just going to kind of run on its own, and we'll have it when we need it. I think eventually we're going to have to use this for some of the higher tier parts, but for right now, we don't have to worry about that. It'll just be used when we need it. We can kind of just take it out of our inventory, and when we need it for construction, well, it'll just come out of the dimensional depot. So that being done means it's kind of time to start connecting everything else. There's a bunch of limestone out there that I need to grab still and kind of route everything back to the base. And I really need to start working on our concrete production, because we're going to need a ton of concrete both now and in the future. So it makes sense to do it now. And let me kind of show you. My idea is to put it all the concrete stuff in this square. As far as designs go, that second story, I don't think I want it to encroach over here too far. I'm thinking that half of the factory will have 2 stories. This one will only have 1 story, and kind of because we got this big old window, right? So I'm gonna go. And I think we're going to put just a bunch of constructors down. Just kind of like here, right? We'll just kind of run them down. And, I was doing some math, and the way we're going to end up running things, right? We're essentially going to have 2 different things. We're going to have a 480 line, and we're going to have a 420 line. Now, if we look at the recipe for concrete, 45 limestone per minute, right? Well, if we look at 480, that's not divisible by 45. If we look at 420, that's not divisible by 45. But they both have some remainders, right? And so those 2 remainders, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a 480 line feeding 10 constructors on one side, and the 420 line feeding 10 constructors on the other. But the extra from the 480 will wrap around and feed the 10th constructor here. So this line is essentially doing 10 and change, and this line is doing 9 and change, and those 2 changes will meet up and make $1 over here, right? So let me figure out all the spacing and kind of go grab everything, and I'll show you how it's done. All right, so here we go. So here's kind of what I came up with. I'm really kind of liking this idea of every time, loading from the outside in like a U and outputting into the middle. I don't know. I just kind of like that. But when I connect the outside lines, I like using a lift like this. I don't know why. I think it looks kind of cool, and it just kind of works out. But here we go. Here's 20 constructors that are all going to be taken in limestone. They're all going to output and go into this guy right here. And let's go take a look downstairs real quick, just to kind of see what's going on. And here's where we have everything, right? So what we're going to end up doing is, you can see we've got our lifts right here. We're going to just kind of take these down. I'll probably have to get down here. Oh, you know what? Let's actually expand this out a little bit. We're just literally going to take these down, and I think this is the one that wants to go in here, and just do stuff like that, right? And then we'll bring this down, and well, I'll have to figure this one out. But yeah, actually, I think that's the output. I think I missed a hole there. Yeah. And then we're going to have to move, it looks like this guy. What are you? I think you're iron, right? Because I think that's the output and that's the storage. So we'll need to connect those up, move this out of the way. But that's kind of the gist of it, right? We grabbed, I mean, you can see we have limestone here. It turned out being just a big old bridge, right? So that's where we were. It's kind of coming this way. And this is a 360 line. That's good. Or I'm sorry, this is going to end up being the 420 line because we got a 360. And there's a impure down there, which is getting another 60 to make 420. This is going to be the 480 line because we have a bunch. I think we're using 2 normals, which are right down here. That's a normal, and that's a normal. And then we have 3 impure out there. You can kind of see them sticking up. If I kind of scroll in there, you know, you can kind of see 1, 2, and the third one is right over there. So those 3 together, 60, that's 180. 180 plus these makes 420. And then we have our last impure limestone right there, which is giving us the 480 belt. So these are all going to give us, what is that, 480 times 2, 960. Or I think we have 900. 900 divided by 45 is 20 constructors exactly, right? And if we look at the concrete recipe, we're going to be getting 20 times 15, which is what? 300 concrete per minute. That is insane. 300 concrete per minute. And we're basically running this biome dry. We're sucking it dry of all of its resources, but it's necessary for the factory to grow. And to be quite honest, I'm ready to have this factory kind of built and doing its thing so we can do things like put our space elevator down over here in the crater and do all that and start working on our power over here and all that kind of stuff, right? So let's get this knocked out. So now that we are done, here, let me go in here. We know that our concrete is done, right? So next thing I think I'm going to do, I think we're going to do all of this copper stuff. And to do that, oh yeah, well, this is where I was doing all my math right here. So let's go ahead and delete that, and we'll get rid of the concrete. We had to exit so it saves. All right, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to keep this here, but I want to get rid of, design-wise, right? I had an idea, and I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, I'm going to put it here, and then get rid of this. You know, this will just be a regular 1 meter foundation, right? You're going out. Over here for the second floor, I want to do glass. Right? I just want to get the glass done. So we're just going to kind of... I just think that's going to look kind of cool. You know, a lot of times you might see the walkways glass and then the floor is the foundations. Because a lot of people like to run their belts in between floors and things like that. I want to see the machines. So we're using glass. And so let's figure out what we're going to do here. So I've kind of been tinkering and I've done a little bit of math already, right? And if we look here, in fact, we don't even need to open this. We can just look. The 3 main copper components. Wire. Wire is a 1 to 2 recipe, right? So we're thinking about this in terms of how much copper per minute we're using. Because you need to remember, with the new copper node that we brought in, we now have 480 copper per minute. Over here, where we're using this wire, we have 10 constructors making 15 wire per minute, which if you 10 times 15, that's 150, minus 150, right? So we have 330 total copper ingots per minute that we can use, right? That we can siphon off of these guys. So wire is a 15 per minute, right? 15 to 30, right? But if we look at cable, well, cable is 60 to 30, right? Or in other words, one cable is, I think it's one yeah, 1 copper ingot to 1 cable with double the amount of wire in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to do, I think 10 constructors of wire, which is, if that's 15 times 10, we already did that, 150, right? So 150 in wire. What else do we need? Well, we need, wire, copper sheets. All right, so we need copper sheets. So let's look at those. Copper sheets use 20 per minute. Well, if we have 150 plus 150, that's 300. It means we only have 180 left. So let's go ahead, and I think I want to do another 100, right? So that's 400. I think that'll be fine. So I'm going to do somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 constructors to get all of the parts we need, and I think that'll give us. I don't think we're using every single bit of the copper down there, but that'll give us enough of everything that we can kind of build and do all that. So I'm going to kind of figure out how to lay that out up here, and it's probably going to be, let me get some constructors, right? Something along, again, like these lines, right? I'm going to do probably, I'll put more down, but over here on this side, what I was thinking, and I'm going to do it a little spacing, kind of like that, right? We're going to do wire on this side. So basically this whole line will be wire, right? So we'll have 10 wire constructors, and that's all doing, right, 30 wire per minute. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to do cable, and that's taking 60 wire per minute, and it's making cable, right? So really we're just doing 30 to 30. So this is only running at half speed, but it'll just make it easy, right? Because, we're not using cable building a lot. Yeah, we're using it for power lines and stuff like that, but we're not using it building yet. And again, this is a starter factory. So to kind of make things smooth, we're going to do that. And then, so we'll kind of have constructors here. I'll build out this floor more, and then we'll have wire sheets, right? So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll bring you back and we'll kind of talk through it all. All right, so we've gone ahead and built everything, and I'll show you how I brought the copper up in a second, but you can see same thing. We're doing wire to cable, and then that's all going to eventually merge and go into a storage right here with a dimensional depot. And then over here, same thing, wire, but that is going to go back and go into this dimensional depot here. And what I think I'm going to do, I just thought about this right now, actually. I have been kind of messing around, and I'll show you here what I mean. You'll notice that that's a splitter, and that's a splitter for a specific reason. I'm probably going to upgrade that to a smart splitter, and again, I'll explain to you why. But yeah, so we have sheets going over here. Half the sheets are going to go this way and go into this dimensional depot, right? Copper sheets. The other half, so half of this one and these two are going to be 25 copper sheets per minute, right? Because we have all this space over here, right? And there's, I want to do some stuff with this space, and that's going to be where we do our keyterium. So our little Radio Shack is going to go over here, and this is going to be quick wire AI limiters. If we look at the AI limiters, AI limiter, those take 25 copper sheets per minute, 100 quick wire per minute. So we have 240, I think, 240 keyterium per minute coming in. So we'll smelt that, and yeah, we'll get that all set up. But this, like I mentioned, I'm going to do this, right? So there's going to be a scenario, I think, where, right? So if I kind of put this down, let's look at the settings here, right? So right now, the way this is set up, anything would go straight, no worries. If I do something like this, right? If I overflow on one of the sides, this means that if this output is blocked, then it will divert everything over to an overflow side, right? In this case, to the left. But what if I did this? I could even put this to none. What if I have overflow on both sides. The way I think this is going to work, because over in here somewhere, there's going to be an AI limiter assembler. Over here is my storage, right? There could be a scenario where either direction backs up. And I think by setting both of these to overflow, if it can flow both ways, it'll just split it like normal. But if it can flow only one way, it'll just send it to whichever side is open regardless, right? So I think this is kind of a good way to almost guarantee 25 and 25 minimum, but also allow for more than 25 in each given direction, right? So that's something I'm going to try out. But yeah, so let's also look at what I did over here. So to get the copper up, I'm just using floor holes, but I set it up in such a way where you can kind of see it. I'm probably going to end up putting walls down here, like along this line here, but I wanted this to kind of be a little visual feature, right? I got to put more smelters in here. Oh no, I have all 4 sets of smelters. So 480, but you can see a little bit why I wanted to go with the glass, because I think it just looks super cool to be able to look up and see, you know, like the lights through there, all the machines when they're going to be running and all that kind of stuff. I just think that's super cool, right? And to bring all the copper over, we are just literally, yeah, it's right there. So what we did is I just split it. Yeah, you know, that is backed up, and so it'll just split off in there as needed, you know. So pretty easy. The quick wire though, or the Caterium. The Caterium is going to have to come somewhere over, I think, in this area, which is where everything is. So that's the next thing to get set up. So I'm going to hop into doing that and get our little Radio Shack up and running up here. And then I'll walk you through that per usual so you can see how that's all set up. All right. Things are looking a lot more busy. And here's kind of what I was talking about. Here's that smart splitter. And you can see it now here's the downside, right? It waits until there's 2 of the item in here before it sends it any given way. Whereas, so a regular splitter would take one and send it one way. The next one would go the other way. But, so maybe this is the downside for this. I'll have to wait and see, but you can see it's kind of backed up over there, which is the situation I was talking about. I'll have to see when it is backed up over to here, what ends up happening. Because at this rate, I think it's kind of using things faster. Here, let me do this actually. Do I have copper sheets? Yeah, I do. I have some copper sheets. So if I fill this up, let's do a little experiment. We'll do it together. Okay, so it's sending them both, but okay. So it is defaulting them that way. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So, I don't know. I might have to incorporate this technique elsewhere in my factory. So I think this could be a nice way to do things. I haven't quite thought of a scenario how, but I know there's a way. And this is the Caterium. So Caterium's running the same way. You can kind of actually see it running down there. It's going right under and into a lift, coming up this lift into, what is this, 6? So it's 6 and change, right? Because this smelts at 45 per minute, and if you have 240 divided by 45, well, you have some left over. So our last smelter here is underclocked to account for that. Just kidding. No, it's not. It should be underclocked. What is not underclocked? Well, I know this only needs to be 5 per minute, right? So then we have 45 times 5 plus 15 is 240, right? So that's why it's all set there. Okay, so that's underclocked, and it's literally just all coming in, going into some quick wire splitters here, and then I'm doing the same thing here, right? Well, I'm lying. Here, I'm prioritizing it going to our single AI limiter assembler. And I'm only doing one because I feel like it's an AI limiter thing. I don't know how many of those we're going to be using, but I don't think it's a lot. But it's still enough that I want to have enough, right? And With this way, it just kind of focuses on filling that stack up and then sending everything else into the dimensional storage. So yeah, that's that. So now, basically, this is like our little Radio Shack. I don't know if I'm dating myself with that, but it's our little electronics factory, okay? So that's all set up. And with that, we can cross off these guys. So now we're down to 3 of the most basic items. And we have way more iron than we need to build all that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to put that down there because I want to make this thing where I have a solid walkway but see-through floors, you know? I'm kind of doing like the opposite. And then we're just going to build this back out. So I've been doing a little thinking about how much we're going to be able to use and what we have and what could be very useful for us in the future. And I feel like there is one item that it would be kind of foolish not to make because we have all the materials, and that's the encased industrial beams, right? I know we're going to use a bunch of these in the future, and we have such an easy recipe right here to do all that because we have 400. Where is it? This array right here, this is 480 iron per minute that we're not using at all. To dedicate that to plates, rods, and screws would be crazy, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to... We're going to make some reinforced iron plates. Or, I'm sorry, encased industrial beams. And so I've already kind of been thinking about some of the math here, right? If we look at this alternate iron pipe, that makes 25 per minute. We want 24 per minute. So that means that we're going to, right here, we're taking, was it 94 times 3? 96 times 3? 96 iron per minute. So 96 times 3, 288. Cool. So now we have 480 minus 288, 192 iron. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 of these down. These are going to be iron plates. 30 per minute. Easy peasy. Then I'm going to take the same thing and I will put about 2 gap there. And we're going to put 4 of these down. And you might have guessed it. That's right. Iron rods. Right? So this all together is 60 plus 90 plus, and this is what, 96 times 3? 438. So if we do minus 480, we have 42 left over. Well, there's a recipe. I don't want to use this. I don't want to have to make more constructors for rods. So I'm going to use this cast screw recipe. But you'll notice that uses 12.5. Well, if we do 42 divided by 12.5, that's not an even number. But we can use four constructors to do that. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are all going to be cast screws, right? 1, paste, paste, paste. And then on this one, we're just going to change this to 36%. Now you notice that's 4.5, right? So if we do 12.5 times 3 is 37.5 plus 4.5, 42. That's all 480 iron, right? So then all we would need to do is build some assemblers over here. Yeah, I think that's fine. Maybe something like that. And I think we're doing 3, right? 1, 2, 3. And these are all going to be making encased industrial pipes. And yeah, so we'll just need 60 concrete per minute, which, if you remember, we're making 300. So getting 60 over to here, no problem at all. So then what I'm going to do... Yeah, I think I'm just going to run... let's see here. I'm just going to merge all these. And I guess, yeah, we'll just do it like this. We'll kind of just have it go in one way. As we know, Mark III belts are fine. And then we'll do not smart splitters, regular splitters. We'll do the first ones. So we'll do that. I'll turn some lights on so we can see here. And just like that. Okay. So we have the the pipes coming in. And then we'll just need to set up you know what? I think that could work actually. Let me see. If I do this, 1, 2, 3, does that connect? I think that's fine. I was gonna say it's a little gross, but is it? You know? Okay, so let me put that down. And we'll do that. And we'll do that. Key is to make sure the splitters are facing the correct way. Alright, so then we'll just need a floor hole here. So we just lock that in place. I think that's fine. Okay, and that's connected, so that's perfect. So then what I'll do is we'll come down here and we'll just kind of have to place that. So it's dead center of this, which I think is right there. Let's see. Nice. And yeah, well, you'll see I'm having it face out this way so we can see it, right? So we'll just need we'll have to go, we'll split it from down below. We're not going to split it from up here. And then, so that's that. And then we'll kind of do the same thing, but we need to find a good spot to have the iron come up. And I'm thinking the only way to really do that is to do it out here. Basically, how to do it in a way... Oh, these didn't go the right direction. Basically, because I want it to come up. Hello? Thank you. So maybe we'll have it come up right there. That's actually a pretty decent spot, I think. So we'll want to be directly in the center. And we'll... Now, I could just run that over and up, but I want to have it go under, because I think that's going to look better. And this will 100% need to be a Mark IV. You will need to be a Mark IV. There we go. And we'll connect it all after the fact. All right. So now we just do the splitting. And I'm going to use this. So we'll kind of do that. And we'll do there. Pretty simple. I'm gonna just kind of hook all these belts up, and then we'll come back and I'll kind of show you how it's all going. All right, so we got all the belts ran. Pretty simple. Just it's gonna come up here, split, and then just kind of manifold itself all the way down. Got the power ran as well, and then everything's gonna be connected to a dimensional depot. So the last thing we have to do is get all of this merged together. And what better place to do it than, I guess, over here. Right? So we'll just kind of go this way. And we'll just, like, literally just do that. And then literally just do that. That just needs to go into here. And I think that's everything, right? And then we just need to put that everything right there. And definitely make sure it is a Mark IV. And we'll run down below. We just need to get from there to there. So that should be pretty simple. So that's our goal. We just do that. And this should be right. Yeah, so we'll kind of just weave it in there. I think we can do it. So if we just go kind of, hold on, something like that. Here, we'll just kind of get somewhere better. So it's going to be in the middle of that. So if I just kind of go like there and there, that should be all of the iron we need. And we should see it going up beautifully. Distributing perfectly. And we should start seeing some kind of parts come out. Look at that. Already got iron plates. Already got rods. Screws. The bane of everyone's existence. Hello, screws. There we go. First set of screws. And then the only thing that's going to take... Oh, you know what? I didn't run the concrete. Let's go get the concrete. All right, so here is the concrete. I want to priority split this because we have the technology. All right, can I... Let me get rid of this. I just need a little... And we want right to overflow. Yes. Nope. We want... There we go. Okay. So then now... How am I going to get it over there? Well... Let's think here. Okay, here... I think I got an idea. We'll just do something like this. We'll just go that way. We will... I don't know, it's gonna be like an arbitrary point over here. Here we go. So I want to kind of grab that. I think that's the right... I think that's the right height. Which we can then go back up. Right? And then run that on the ceiling. Okay. And then I guess I'll just hop on this guy and we'll kind of figure that out. Okay. Now we got the concrete flowing. Do we see it on the belt? Oh wait, I set overflow. I should have set the priority. I did it backwards. Yeah, I did it backwards. So we want this to be any, that to be overflow. There we go. Okay, let's get up there and meet it. Any minute now. Yes, there we go. Did I might have only made that Mark III. But this should be, okay. If I did my job, everything would be working. Yes, And this should be encased industrial beams once we get the pipes. Yeah, so this is going to be the downside, is that because we're using a manifold, everything's going to need to fill up, with this being the last parts to fill up, which is the most resource hungry. I guess I could... I mean, I could do things like maybe make this Mark II. You know what? It'll be fine. I know it'll make itself, and we're not worried. Like, the encased industrial beams are just a bonus. All this other stuff is really what we're trying to build. Right? That was the point. And you can see we already got a ton going. How's this one looking? Look at that. We got rods uploading. I'm sure we got plates uploading. No space even. Look at that. So we're already building up here. So yeah, I think that's exactly what we wanted to do. And let's cross that off our to-do list. And just like that, barring the decor, because that's still something that needs to happen, I'd say we're done with the starter factory. Even with some, like, this is a bonus. I didn't even expect to get this, but here it is, right? So yeah, I'm actually super happy about that. I'm going to be... I need to kind of build some more decor and all that and kind of finish out this factory. There's still some things I want to do, especially with like the power on the outside and all that. Kind of remove parts that I don't need, slim it down, you know, just finish it off in general. But yeah, super happy about that. If you want to watch me decorate or do all that, make sure to follow on Twitch, or you know, keep an eye out here. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it here. Pretty productive, lots of stuff done, and yeah, this place is looking dramatically different as promised. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much, and we'll see you in the next one.